If you do feel like you struggle with limiting beliefs or fears or anxiety, you are not alone, and I am right there by your side 100%. Like, I am with you on it. I think probably all of us suffer in silence with this stuff and we just don't talk about it. But like, we're just human beings trying to figure our way through, and we're all struggling with this stuff. Hello! Welcome to this episode of the She Means Business Show. I'm so excited you're here, and I really wanted to talk about a topic that is a bit vulnerable, but I really want to talk about it because I received a message from someone on Instagram recently, and they just said that they were feeling really, really low, and they'd watched my TED Talk, and they wanted to know, like, what did I do to help me overcome my like limiting beliefs and my like negative thoughts? And they said they just felt like so controlled and kind of trapped by their thoughts. And I thought it'd be really good to do an episode on this because I feel like so many of us struggle with what goes on inside of our head. And sometimes I think we can feel so alone when really, if we speak up about it, we realize that actually we're not alone, we're not weird, we're not crazy. So many of us feel this way or have these crazy, weird thoughts. And I know for myself, like, I have struggled like over the years with like weird thoughts, with anxiety and limiting beliefs and just really destructive patterns. I've worked on it so much and was able to really untangle myself, which at the time felt like it would be impossible, you know, because sometimes, you know, with our thoughts, we get to a place with them where we feel like they control us and that we are a prisoner of them because we feel like we've given them our power. Like, we feel like we don't even have the ability to control them, like they're just there festering away in our heads, like driving us insane. And sometimes we feel like we don't have the ability to take control. But I really worked on it and was able to like take control. And when I started to take control, I really started to reshape my life and to not only create so much more success, but so much more joy and just contentment and happiness. And then throughout the years, I've kind of like gone on a roller coaster ride with it. And like, I go in phases of like being absolutely fine and then really dipping. And I always notice when I dip, it's like I've gone backwards and started to pick up some really bad habits and really bad ways of thinking. And it can just get to a point where like sometimes you don't even realize you're sabotaging yourself. Sometimes you're not even blooming aware of the limiting beliefs or negative thoughts that you have festering beneath the surface. You're not even aware of them, but they're holding you back every single day. And I really wanted to talk about this. One, it's triggered because I went to a Tony Robbins event. I really enjoyed the stuff that Tony Robbins shares, and I always have. I've never been to one of his events, so I've only ever listened to his audio programs. And Kellen, my husband, for Christmas bought me a virtual ticket to his Unleash the Power Within event. Anyway, obviously, so much of Tony Robbins' work is around like limiting beliefs and things. So it just kind of like sparked. Firstly, I realized I have so many blooming limiting beliefs that I didn't even know about. Like, I'll be honest with you and share this with you, but like, so in my business, I feel like I got to, you know, 7 figures, multi-7 figures. And then when that happened, it was like I just stalled out and I reached that goal, and it was such a big goal to reach. And it was obviously is amazing, but I just haven't been able to like kind of break through. And there's been multiple reasons. Like, I've had kids, I've taken my foot off the, you know, the pedal with it all. So there's been lots of things that have happened. But I've had this niggling feeling for a while now. There's something going on beneath the surface. And it's kind of like back in 2012 when I wasn't making any money in FEA, and I knew something going on under the surface here. Like, I have got some messed up thoughts around making money that is holding me back. So anyway, doing these exercises with Tony Robbins and realizing like my limiting beliefs, I really identified that like I have a real association with greed. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I had money blocks at the beginning. And I realized I have I've still got that money block, but it's just manifested on getting to the next level. I was able to break through it on one level, and now it's come back to get through to another level. And it was the idea of like, why do I need to make more money? Like, why do I need to make 8 figures? Like, why do I need to do that? Who needs that much money? And I was like, whoa, like, who needs that much money? Like, where's this coming from? And then I realized in this group, the group that I was in on the event, like, we got to write in the chat box like what our goals were, and someone wrote they wanted to make 100 million, and the first thought that came to my head is, who the hell needs 100 million? Like, come on. I was like, oh my gosh, there it is again. Like, there's that limiting belief rearing its ugly head. And I was like, this is insane to me, because I know logically that if I make 8 figures or if I make 100 million, it's not about me making that money. It's about what will it take to get me to make that money, and it's the impact that I can have. So essentially, me being like, I don't need to make any more money, I don't want to make 8 figures, is me saying, I don't really want to serve any more people. I don't really want to help that many more people. I don't want to really keep putting myself out there and keep shining bright. And I was like, whoa. It was really interesting recognizing that like I have these patterns that are playing in them, and that they impact on a subconscious level, because it's kind of like a default belief that I have. I realize I've been holding myself back because I'm afraid to go to the next level. I'm afraid of having to show up in that way. The first thing I would say is try and take some time to get clear on what your limiting beliefs are. One thing I would really recommend is go on YouTube and Google Tony Robbins and limiting beliefs and just see what comes up. And he might not be your cup of tea. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he does share some really interesting insights around like limiting beliefs and working on your limiting beliefs. So I would really firstly do that and identify, what are your fears? What are your limiting beliefs? What are the things that make you feel really anxious, and identify them. And so for me, over the that weekend of doing that, I got really clear on what they were. But I wanted to share with you some of the key things that I've done, not only just things from this past weekend, but like over the past 15 years, the things that I've done that have really helped me with my limiting beliefs and with my thoughts that create anxiety, create massive amounts of fear, and that make me feel trapped in my own life, and then lead to me doing really strange behaviors. A lot of OCD behaviors come from our anxious thoughts, fear-based thoughts of feeling like you have to, say, turn a light switch off so many times, otherwise something's going to happen. And those fears often come about those behaviors often come about because of our fears and anxieties. So, and I remember, I've definitely got into those traps before myself, and I've really had to work on pulling myself back out of things. I remember one time going through a phase where I had to rip the toilet paper perfectly down the perforated line, and if it ripped, I had to pull another piece off. I mean, I feel like I'm really opening up here and spilling this out to you, because you don't need to know that, but I'm just sharing it with you because I feel like sometimes it's good to feel like you're not alone, and maybe for you don't do that stuff, but maybe it's something else that you do. And I wanted to share it because I think that beneath the surface, so many of us struggle with these kinds of thought patterns, debilitating thought patterns, and we look around at other people thinking they don't suffer with this. I know, and I do the same thing, feeling like I'm suffering alone sometimes, feeling that I'm the only person that deals with this stuff, which obviously I know is not true. And obviously, we all know mental health is such a big problem, and that it's kind of got worse and worse and worse, and especially with younger people, and it's become a real problem. And I know how debilitating it can be, especially in regards to then building your own business. And when you build your own business, bloody hell, it's a bloody personal development lesson in itself. You've got to figure out how to get out of your own way like never before. You've got to have so much courage and so much inner strength to be able to push through, and not just push through, but just to do it, to evolve and to shine bright. It takes so much. So I've found a real link between these things. And when I work on this stuff, not only does it impact me from a personal perspective, it also helps me to up-level my business. So some of the things that have really helped me are, years and years ago, I think it was 2008, I trained as an NLP practitioner, and it was so interesting learning about NLP. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. And some of the techniques from that really helped me with my anxious thoughts, limiting beliefs were, when I started to become more consciously aware of my limiting beliefs and my fear-based thoughts, my anxieties. And what I would do when I would start thinking about them, as I recognized I was thinking about one, I would literally say to myself, stop. And then I would imagine screwing up that thought like it was a piece of paper and throwing it behind me and just getting rid of it. So that would be the first thing I would do. And I remember when I first started doing this, I thought, as if this is bloody going to work, as if saying stop and pretending it's a piece of paper and throwing it behind me is going to make a difference. But I did it and I did it and I did it. And then one day I realized I'd gone for months without having these thoughts. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that was one technique. Stop. Screwing the thought up and throwing it behind you. Get rid of it. But then what I would also do alongside that is, when I recognized I was having these patterns of thoughts that were kind of really derailing me and spiraling me into a place of state of anxiety, I would really acknowledge that I was thinking about those things, but then I would shift into thinking about something else. It could be something I was grateful for. Like gratitude is a really powerful emotion. And when you fully tune into gratitude, you can't be feeling like looking into the gratitude and then also feeling the feelings of anxiety. Like it's hard to feel those things at the same time. So I found that if I thought about some really key things, so like when I was doing this exercise with Tony Robbins over the weekend or whatever it was, I was thinking about like when my kids were born, I was like remembering moments in my life that have just been so incredibly precious to me, and just like silly little things like Kellen running me a bath one time because I was really stressed out, and he put candles everywhere, and he'd got me a massive glass of wine and put spa music on, and it was like the sweetest thing ever. And I remembered that moment and how it made me feel, and I just felt the gratitude like filling up inside me. So thinking about that helps to like, you're shifting away, you're pulling away from that negative limiting belief that's like dragging you down, and getting yourself to a place where you feel good. And then alongside those feelings of gratitude, also visualizing amazing things happening. And you know me, if you've been listening to my podcast for any length of time, you know I bloody love visualizing. And as much as I can visualize the good stuff, I'm equally good at visualizing the bad stuff. So I really have to, like, I work on this. So I feel like for me, I really then tune in with like something that I want to make happen, and I experience it and feel it and connect with it like it's really happening, and I get excited about it. And when I go into that absolute state, it's almost like a trance of something amazing happening, whether it's a holiday going on, or, you know, like at the moment we're like in the process of trying to build our dream home. So I'll like vividly visualize my dream home. I'll vividly visualize what it might be like going down the drive, like seeing it happen. And when I'm in that place, I feel like my anxiety drains away as I get really excited and connected to the vision of what I do want, not what I don't want. So it's a more empowering space for me to be in. So really visualize that the NLP, the stop technique, switching to feeling grateful, switching to visualizing on what you do want. Another thing is like things like EFT, emotional freedom technique, and like tapping. Like, honestly, so many of you already probably do this, but like, if you don't, go on YouTube and like search for EFT. I remember Brad Yates, I used to watch that Tap of the Morning with Brad Yates. But it's really powerful to do those things and to like work with yourself and to releasing your fears and your blocks and your anxiety. And for me, I found it so helpful. And I also work with a coach. I love having sessions with her and like working on myself and my crap, because if I don't, it just boils up and boils up and boils up, and then I feel like I'm a pot. She hears it all from me, and I just get to like work with her, and we work on, she does like amazing exercises with me to help me on the mindset piece and like the inner work piece. And it's so powerful to work with somebody that you believe in and that you trust is incredible. So finding someone that you can work with, amazing. And then also alternative therapies, like I also have like crystal sound healing therapy, like sessions. So someone who I have the sessions with, and it's just over Zoom, and I love it. And she does her crystal singing bowls, and it's so powerful. Like I feel my energy shift. I feel the way I feel, my anxieties dissolve, and it's so powerful to have like a guided session with someone or use like crystal singing bowls. My God, if you've ever been around a crystal singing bowl, whoa. The vibration of it is unbelievable. It's incredible. So I found that really powerful. And even things like Reiki and just doing those things. So I know I just said a lot in a short period of time, but I think the most important thing is that, one, I wanted to create this episode so that if you do feel like you struggle with limiting beliefs or fears or anxiety, that you are not alone, and I am right there by your side 100%. Like I am with you on it. And I know that it's something that I think probably all of us suffer in silence with this stuff, and we just don't talk about it. But like, we're just human beings trying to figure our way through, and we're all struggling with this stuff. And for me, it's looking at not letting myself get to a place. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I do spiral into like really, really low places. But then I know I'm gonna work on this. And I really like go back to all these things, the NLP, the gratitude, the visualization, working with coaches, EFT, the crystal sound healing, the Reiki. Like there is a lot that we can do and work on that I think is important for us to share and get out there. And like, I know this, I mean, I've probably missed loads of things that I do, and there's loads more things. I mean, I talk about this a lot in my book, She Means Business, but I think the more we open up and have the courage to share, if you feel comfortable doing so, it can be so powerful to someone else. You just can't even begin to realize the impact that you might have on someone else to just hear you say, like, this is one of my anxieties that I have, and for them to not feel so alone anymore. So anyway, I hope this episode has helped you feel like you're not alone if you feel these things. and that there are things you can do to take back your control, take back your power, and to step into a place where you feel really good and you feel in control of your thoughts. You don't feel like they're out of control running you, like you're running the show. You're running the show, and you can get yourself to a place where you feel good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see you next week for another episode of the She Means Business Show. Take care, and remember to tag me on Instagram for all of your thoughts and insights on it. All right, take care. Bye.